This evening, coconut generated over $2 billion in revenue in 2021. 2 men were arrested amid the discovery of a lifeless body in an empty lot in Berbice. Several persons were hospitalized following a horrific accident on the Soesdyke-Linden highway. In the region, Cuba faces worst economic crisis in decades, and internationally, Nigerians turn to charcoal as cooking gas prices soar. Greetings and welcome to another edition of Channel 2 Headline News Updates. I am Bibi Bacchus. Thank you for joining us. 2 men were arrested and taken into police custody after the lifeless body of a 22-year-old man was discovered with chop wounds and marks of violence in an empty lot at the number 55 village East Berbice Quarantine on Tuesday, May 17, 2022. The dead man has been identified as Akash Picha, an ex-convict of number 50 village Quarantine Berbice. Picha's body was discovered around 7 a.m. by a woman on an empty plot of land clad in a red t-shirt and black pants. According to the woman who lives adjacent to the vacant property, she did not hear any weird noises on Monday night. However, after the body was found, the police were contacted. Upon arrival, Peach's body was examined and visible marks of violence and several chop wounds were evident. He was then picked up by the police and taken to Anthony's funeral home, where he was officially pronounced dead by a doctor. The body is awaiting a post-mortem examination at the said mortuary. According to one of Peach's relatives, he was only released from prison about 3 weeks ago, and while he was not permanently employed, he had been working as a laborer in the village and also would sell coconuts. She said he was last seen about 3 days ago and mentioned that one of his former prison mates were recently released and was inquiring about him. Peaches was arrested in August 2021 for simple larceny and theft. He escaped from police custody and was subsequently recaptured. It is unclear if he was charged for escaping custody, but according to the commander, the penalty for escaping custody is 3 years imprisonment. According to sources, one of Peach's relatives was arrested along with one of his friends. The men are currently in police custody and assisting with the investigation. Issues of gender-based violence remains a problem. Unfortunately, a woman is currently in the hospital after being stabbed by a man. Her relatives indicated that she wanted nothing more than to be out of his life, as the source explains.
Police in Regional Division 4A is investigating the alleged unlawful wounding of 39-year-old Sharon Hoppy of Hatfield Street Lodge by her 36-year-old lover on Tuesday, May 17, 2022. According to police records, the victim and the accused had a relationship that was terminated around 2 months ago, but the suspect would pay the victim visits from time to time. Since then, the victim had begun a new relationship. The accused went to the victim's house around 0:30 hours Tuesday and met the guy, who then left. Due to the time of night, the victim and the accused had a misunderstanding regarding the relationship, and she permitted the accused to sleep at her home. The victim went to her bed at around 200 hours, leaving the suspect in the house around 3 a.m. The accused entered the victim's room, which was unlocked, and attacked her with a knife. She tried to fight the accused off, and he dealt her a stab to her left side neck and another to her right side abdomen, after which he exited the house and fled the scene to an unknown location. Hoppy was subsequently taken to the Georgetown Public Hospital by a neighbor after an alarm was raised. She was treated by a doctor on duty and hospitalized as a patient, where her status remains stable. Today, Headline News visited the scene and spoke to the relatives of Hoppy. The family members claim the information peddled in the media is inaccurate. However, they refuse to comment on the matter further as to what exactly transpired. Up to present time, the suspect has not been arrested. Women are being abused daily. While many cases of abuse go unnoticed, many women continue to suffer at the hands of their abusers, and others have lost their lives. Abuse can come in many forms, such as physical or verbal maltreatment, injury, assault, violation, rape, unjust practices, crimes, and other types of aggression. If you or someone you know is being abused, call 914 to speak with someone who can assist. For Channel 2 Headline News, Esther Sobers.
Thanks, Esther. Several persons are hospitalized and others left nursing wounds after the vehicle they were traveling in turned turtle at the Yarra Cabra on the Soesdyke-Linden highway on Tuesday, May 17. Inquiries disclosed that around 11:40 a.m., motorcar PAB 2411, driven by 33-year-old Paul Archer of half-mile Wismar-Linden, was proceeding north along the highway at a fast rate of speed when he lost control of the vehicle. The car turned turtle several times before coming to a halt on a grass parapet. At the time of the incident, 5 other occupants from Linden were in the vehicle, including a 1-year-old and a 4-year-old. As a result, the driver and occupants received injuries. They were taken to the Diamond Diagnostic Center, where they were seen and examined by a doctor on duty. 3 of the occupants of the vehicle were treated and sent away, while the other 3 were taken to the Georgetown Public Hospital for further medical attention. Stick around after the break. Security guard remanded a prisoner for discharging his firearm with intent, and Coconut generated over $2 billion in revenue last year. But before that, here is the bridge retraction schedule, sponsored by Antique and Modern Concrete Molding Establishment.
In a world filled with copycats and ever-changing trends, make your property stand out with unique concrete moldings. Different, exquisite designs carefully handcrafted to suit your style, with various customizable and antique and modern designs made at our factory. Antique and Modern Molding Establishment. We make your property outstanding. We make and install all moldings anywhere in Guyana.
The best quality, affordable prices, on-the-spot quotes, and no hidden fees.
Call us or WhatsApp us at 684-5050 or email us at modernestab@gmail.com. Antique and Modern Molding Establishment, made to stand out.
At John Lewis Styles, we carry only first quality men's and women's clothing, footwear, and accessories. As authorized dealers, our items come directly from the manufacturing brands and are available in all sizes and colors. What we sell was never on display in another store. It's time you know the truth about what you buy. Come visit us on Waterloo Street. John Lewis Styles. Simply different.
Good girl forget things.
What's the problem, Granny? I want money for borrow for those surgery. I was dancing and I fall and fracture my hip.
If you need some quick money, you should check Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop, Lot 238 South Road, Border, Georgetown. Get jewelry made to order in just 72 hours. We also accept vehicles. Lender's, best rates, longest payback period.
Boys, I get through. Plus, I could dance again. Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
They say that when it hits you, it hits you. A feeling so strong that it's impossible not to give in to a juicy piece of KFC. To feel elevated by the aroma and to free fall into its exciting flavor. Some call it love, attraction, desire. We call it KFC. Ignite your senses with KFC.
Sooner or later you will have another power failure. Are you prepared for the next blackout? Some essential equipment such as security cameras, lights, internet, gate motors, and water pumps may stop working. How can you prevent the next blackout? InverterTech has an affordable solution for you. A strong UPS system which uses the latest inverter and solar battery technology to prevent blackout. We smartly calculate your average power demand so you don't spend more than you need to. Call 223-2233 for more information.
The Guyana Elections Commission GCOM is currently conducting a cycle of continuous registration. Who can register? Anyone who will be 14 years or older by October 31, 2022 and is a Guyanese citizen by birth, descent, naturalization, or is a citizen from a Commonwealth country living in Guyana for 1 year or more. Where to register? Visit the registration office responsible for your area of residence to apply for registration. See Sunday Press for the locations of the registration offices. Registration offices are open from Monday to Friday, 8 to 18 hours, Saturdays and Sundays from 10 to 14 hours. The offices will be closed on holidays. This registration exercise will end on Sunday, May 29th, 2022. For further information, contact GCOM on hotline numbers 225-5868, 225-5808, or visit the GCOM website at www.gcom.org.gy.
Welcome back. 25-year-old Kadeem Andrews, a security guard of Crane Housing Scheme, West Coast Demerara, was remanded to prison when he appeared at the Lenora Magistrates Court, charged with discharging a loaded firearm with intent on Tuesday, May 17th. Andrews appeared before Magistrate Zamila Ali Sirprasad, where the charge was read to him. He was not required to plead to the charge. The court heard that on May 15th, around 2:30 a.m., the victim, Ricardo Polaram, was at the Eclipse Bar imbibing with friends. The man stepped out for a bit, and upon re-entering the bar, he was confronted by the security guard. An argument ensued, resulting in an altercation during which Andrews allegedly pulled out a handgun from a bag and discharged a round towards Polaram, which resulted in him receiving injuries to his neck. Andrews has been remanded to prison until June 17th. Ghana's next cash crop could be coconuts. According to the Minister of Agriculture, coconut-related items generated over $2 billion in revenue in 2021. Esther Sobers has more.
Many benefits such as a vast farmlands, favorable climate, human resources, and government investment in businesses have driven Guyana's fast increasing coconut industry, leading to several farmers restoring to large-scale coconut production. During a recent interview, Minister of Agriculture, Zulfar Mustafa, said the country's coconut production has been significant for local and export purposes. He revealed that approximately $2.5 billion was earned in export over the last year.
Approximately $2.5 billion we have earned over the last year from coconut export, and that both coconut product and coconut water. We are looking at a projected figure this year about 55,000 coconut seedlings to develop, so that we can produce that for Guyanese farmers, so that they can have enough plants.
Minister Mustafa said while most of Guyana's coconut products were previously imported, the country has now placed on the front burner the production of these products, thus reducing the food import bill and bringing in income. The minister further stated that the ministry has been working to develop coconut nurseries and decentralize the production of coconut seedlings across the country. He said farmers can now purchase seedlings at nurseries already established in Region 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. This year, the initiative will be expanded to have nurseries in Region 1 and 9 to allow farmers to have better access to coconut plants, also boosting their production. Furthermore, the government is currently collaborating with private investors to build plantations. This has resulted in several infrastructure projects in Region 2. In addition, about $60 million in capital improvements will be made to the Hope Coconut Estate, and new nurseries will be built across the country. For Channel 2 Headline News, Esther Sobers.
Thanks, Esther. Don't go away after the break. Nigerians turn to charcoal as cooking gas prices soar, and Sri Lanka warns of worsening prices as petrol stations run dry.
The Guyana Elections Commission GCOM is currently conducting a cycle of continuous registration. Anyone who will be 14 years or older by October 31, 2022 and is a Guyanese citizen by birth, descent, naturalization, or is a citizen from a Commonwealth country living in Guyana for 1 year or more. It is your civic duty and legal responsibility to apply for registration if you are eligible. When you do, you would be issued a national ID card and be listed to vote at future elections if you meet other eligibility criteria. Persons could be fined or sent to prison for refusing to apply for registration. Registration will end on May 29, 2022. For further information, please contact GCOM on hotline numbers 225-5868, 225-5808, or visit the GCOM website at www.gcom.org.gy.
Furnishing your home or office has never been easier. Here at Kissoon's, our inventory of locally made and imported furniture, offered at amazing prices, will leave you wanting more. From vinyl, floor rugs and carpets, bedroom, dining and living room sets, mattresses, pillows, office desk, chairs and filing cabinets, outdoor benches and tables. We have a piece of furniture for every room imaginable in your home or office. Check out our flagship store at Industrial Site Rijnveld or one of our branches in New Amsterdam, Port Morant, Riverton and Camp Street. Kissoon's Furniture, furnishing homes for over 50 years.
The Guyana Elections Commission GCOM is currently conducting a cycle of continuous registration. Who can register? Anyone who will be 14 years or older by October 31, 2022 and is a Guyanese citizen by birth, descent, naturalization, or is a citizen from a Commonwealth country living in Guyana for 1 year or more. Eligible persons can apply for new registration if you were never registered, name change if you have changed your name since you were registered, correction if registration information is incorrect, and transfer if you have changed your address since you were registered. See Sunday Press for more details. This registration exercise will end on Sunday, May 29, 2022. For further information, contact GCOM on hotline numbers 225-5868, 225-5808 or visit the GCOM website at www.gcom.org.gy.
Sooner or later you will have another power failure. Are you prepared for the next blackout? Some essential equipment such as security cameras, lights, internet, gate motors, and water pumps may stop working. How can you prevent the next blackout? InverterTech has an affordable solution for you. A strong UPS system which uses the latest inverter and solar battery technology to prevent blackout. We smartly calculate your average power demand so you don't spend more than you need to. Call 223-2233 for more information.
When you need money and you gotta get it fast, Creative Jewelry and Pawn Shop is the place for that confidential transaction in a quiet and secure location. You'll get the highest value per pennyweight for your gold and also enjoy the lowest interest rates and longest payback period too. Yes, for that instant transaction to solve a pressing financial problem. That Creative Jewelry and Pawn Shop, 46 Boyle Place, that's between the Ministry of Housing on Brick Dam and White Castle Fish Shop. Be your first and only choice. Creative Jewelry and Pawn Shop, safe and sound, solid and secure, always there for you. Telephone 231-7878 and 223-8955.
Welcome back. Here now is Esther Sobers with today's regional and international news.
Good evening, and now we take a look at news in the region and around the world. Cuba is facing its worst economic crisis in 30 years. Al Jazeera Lucia Newman has this special report.
55-year-old Laudelina Zulueta is returning home empty-handed after spending hours in a queue to buy butter. Life is a struggle, she says, especially since her daughter migrated to Spain, leaving her to care for her grandchildren on her monthly minimum wage, worth $20 at the black market rate. She shows us her refrigerator, full, mostly of water.
I have 4 children to feed. I have no choice but to go on the street to sell this and that.
She explains that she can buy 10 packs of cigarettes for 200 pesos on her ration card and sell each one for 150 on the flourishing informal market. Long lines for everything from food to fuel reveal an economy in distress. People's tempers are short from queuing most of the day, in this case for 2 bottles of oil. Scarce items are sold with a ration card, but most things are no longer subsidized.
I've been here since 5 a.m. and I've got number 117. See?
It's now 10 a.m. and there are at least 800 people in line hoping to buy chicken. Cuba's cash-starved economy is collapsing under the weight of harsh economic sanctions imposed by Washington and a pandemic that's paralyzed tourism, Cuba's economic engine. All this aggravated by 3-digit inflation, sparked by a long-overdue monetary reform.
We were obliged to devaluate our currency by 2,300%, one of the biggest devaluations ever seen in the region.
Havana's state-run tourist hotels are empty, even as new ones are being built. The few Russian tourists who came this year left as soon as war broke out in Ukraine for fear of being unable to get back home. Thousands of ordinary Cubans who invested in bread and breakfasts before the pandemic are now desperate.
Here's another sign where they rent rooms in central Havana. I'm going to check to see how they're doing. Because there's a sign here that says, "God bless my business and those who visit," but we'll see just how many visitors they've had. Buenas tardes, buenas tardes. Sí, vengo a preguntar cómo va lo de los alquileres.
Marilu Romero shows us her guest register. She hasn't had any since last year.
With that income, I could buy things for my grandchild. Without it, we're hard-pressed.
The strategic planning chief says Cuba is trying to diversify its economy to increase biotechnology industry exports and food production.
We have been taking measures to strengthen and give more autonomy to our state socialist enterprises, which in our view are the fundamental actors of our economy.
It's clear that maintaining centralized control is still the priority, despite pleas for greater freedom for the fledgling private sector. Those who'd hoped that the way out of this crisis would be to follow the example of Vietnam or China will just have to keep waiting in line.
The upcoming Summit of the Americas, which will be held in Los Angeles, will be the first opportunity for the Cuban and U.S. presidents to sit down face to face and discuss possible easing of U.S. sanctions against this country. But that will require political concessions on the part of Cuba.
Internationally, fuel prices have tripled in less than a year, forcing many people to use firewood to cook their meals. Al Jazeera Hamed Idris reports.
It's been 2.5 years since Mahmoud Osman switched from firewood and charcoal to cooking gas to prepare his meals. He says it's fast, easier, and healthier. But with higher prices eating deep into his earnings, he's wondering if that's a wise move.
I used to pay the equivalent of $1.50 for gas in the small cylinder. The price has tripled now.
The rising cost of gas for cooking has pushed many in Nigeria to resort to using wood and charcoal. Here at the local charcoal market in Dotsa, new consignments arrive by the truckloads. Business is brisk.
We sell 200 to 400 bags of charcoal daily. On a very good day, we sell more than 500 bags.
To make those 500 bags, dozens of trees must have been cut down. Cooking gas usage in Africa's biggest oil and gas producer rose by 60% in 2020, exceeding 1 million metric tons. Sales grew further last year, but then slowed down due to reductions in supply. The country now has to import gas at higher prices.
Importing, there is a lot of taxes on it, maybe a custom duty, something like that. So it makes the product to be very high when it lands in the country. So that's the challenges we are having now.
The jump in cooking gas prices for Nigerians already struggling with rising inflation is also reversing gains made in protecting trees in a country where 10 million are cut down every year.
Officials say they hope increasing people's use of cooking gas will save millions of trees and the environment. But the high jump in prices of liquefied petroleum gas will make that harder to achieve.
Nigeria's state oil company blames the rising cost on global price increases. But with the country still importing most of its gas, users are bracing for more price hikes. Ahmed Idris, Al Jazeera, Kano, Nigeria.
And finally, Sri Lanka's government is telling people not to line up at petrol stations because they have run dry. Al Jazeera Minelli Fernandez reports.
Angry, frustrated and helpless, Sri Lankans have had to queue up for most essentials in recent weeks. Today they were told there's no more petrol left.
I came at 8 o'clock this morning, but when I got close they said the petrol was gone. I don't even have enough to go home.
It's the poorest people that are the worst affected. We can't cope.
A massive tax cut, the 2019 Easter bombings targeting hotels and churches, and the pandemic have sharply affected government revenue. This, together with unsustainable debt, mismanagement and corruption, made it difficult for Sri Lanka to face the economic problems in recent months. Foreign reserves have fallen to near zero, and the government can't pay for basic essentials. This included fuel from a tanker anchored off Colombo port for the past 45 days. The government owes $735 million on earlier fuel supplies.
Petrol Sandaha.
Don't queue up for petrol because we are working with very limited stocks, which are being allocated to essential services like ambulances. It will be Saturday or Sunday before supplies are available.
Sri Lanka is facing its worst economic crisis since independence in 1948. Shortages have brought ordinary Sri Lankans to the streets, demanding the President Gotabaya Rajapaksa's resignation. He says he won't resign and has appointed a new Prime Minister, Ranil Wickremesinghe. Voted out of Parliament at the last election, he has a lot to prove.
You and I will have to deal with the most difficult times in our lives over the next few months. Everyone will have to face this with commitment.
After months of stalling, Sri Lanka has opened talks with the International Monetary Fund seeking a bailout. But that will take at least 3 or 4 months to yield any relief. Credit lines, emergency loans and aid have helped the government limp along in recent weeks. But observers say the sooner there is political stability, the sooner the economy can begin its long road to recovery. Minel Fernandez, Al Jazeera, Colombo.
Thanks, Esther. That is it for today's regional and international news. Here now to 3-day weather forecast. That is all for this edition of Channel 2 Headline News Updates. Tune in on Thursday at 7 p.m. for another episode. Be sure to subscribe, like, and follow us on Facebook and YouTube. Until then, please take care of yourself and each other.